The sun dips low over the vast savanna, casting long shadows across the rippling waters of a great river. Beneath a canopy of swaying reeds, a small tribe of Homo habilis, early humans, moves silently through the stillness of dusk. Their homes are not made of stone or earth, but of reeds that sway and float in the current skillfully woven together by their hands. The floating islands are their sanctuary, a refuge from the unpredictable world beyond. On these islands, survival is a constant battle. Each morning begins with the sound of the river's current, the soft rustling of the reeds, and the distant cries of creatures that roam the land. As the tribe gathers around their sacred fire, their leader, a strong figure with a sharp gaze, signals to the younger members, it's time to prepare for the hunt. Their tools are crude but effective stone-tipped spears and sharpened rocks are all they have to hunt the large game that roams the riverbanks. The women and children work in unison, collecting reeds, fishing for small game, and searching for herbs that can heal wounds or soothe pain. The air is thick with the scent of wild plants and the hum of the river's flow. This is their world, and every movement counts. Suddenly, a sharp, blood-curdling cry pierces the air. A large predator, a saber-toothed cat, has wandered too close to the floating island. Its massive form emerges from the reeds, eyes gleaming with hunger. The tribe's hunters leap into action, their spears raised, but the cat is quick, and its strikes are deadly. A tense standoff ensues. The tribe must fight, but they know the risk lose the battle, and the floating islands will no longer be their safe haven. The leader raises his hand, signaling the tribe to scatter. Chaos erupts as they move swiftly between the islands, dodging the predator's attacks. The children are ushered into the center, guarded by the elders. The tribe's survival hinges on their ability to outwit the beast. But time is running out. The cat's roar echoes across the water, and it charges, targeting the weakest in the group. Tension builds as the tribe fights back with everything they have. Spear thrusts, strategic moves, and fierce determination. The predator strikes, and one of the young hunters falls to the ground. A sharp cry rings out, but the leader remains focused, pushing forward with his comrades. Finally, through sheer will and skill, the tribe manages to force the cat into retreat. But the damage is done, there is loss, and the danger remains. The floating islands, once a place of peace, are now a battleground. The tribe must gather what remains and prepare for the next challenge. As the first rays of light touch the surface of the river, the tribe, now weary and bruised, gathers by the fire. Their hearts are heavy, the loss of one of their own, a bitter reminder of how fragile life is. The hunt, though successful, has left its scars, and the threat of predators lingers. But this is not the only challenge they face. The leader of the tribe, his face weathered by the elements' motions to a distant horizon where dark clouds are gathering. A storm is coming, and it's not one they can escape. The reed islands, though expertly crafted, are fragile, barely able to withstand the violent winds that accompany the storm. If the river rises too high, they risk losing everything. A decision must be made. The young men begin working on reinforcing their shelters, securing bundles of reeds to the foundations of their homes. The women with practiced hands gather their children and prepare the storage huts, packing away whatever food and resources they can carry. The storm will test their resolve, but they have no choice but to face it. As the storm approaches, the wind howls through the reeds, bending them almost to breaking point. The tribe watches in tense silence, knowing that their world, this fragile community of floating islands, could soon be swept away. The air is thick with the smell of rain, and the thunder roars like a distant war drum. The leader gathers his warriors and motions them to the center of the island. This is the moment they must hold their ground. The rain begins to fall in torrents, soaking the ground and filling the air with the sound of crashing water. The river, swollen by the heavy rain, begins to rise at an alarming rate. The reed islands, once stable and secure, begin to shift and sway, the gentle rocking turning into violent pitching. The tribe struggles to stay afloat, their makeshift homes groaning under the weight of the rising water. The wind tears at the reeds, threatening to tear the islands apart. In the midst of the chaos, the youngest members of the tribe, small children and elderly members, are huddled together, their faces pale with fear. They are the most vulnerable, and the tribe's survival depends on how well they can protect them. In a desperate bid to save their floating homes, the leader orders the tribe to move together using the collective strength of their community to stabilize the islands. They use ropes made from reeds to tie their shelters to nearby trees along the riverbank, creating a makeshift barrier against the storm. As the floodwaters rise higher, the leader's eyes scan the horizon. He knows this fight is far from over. The storm intensifies. Lightning strikes the river, sending bright flashes across the darkened sky. The roar of the wind is deafening, and for a moment, it seems as though the tribe's floating islands may be torn apart. The sense of helplessness is palpable. But just as the storm reaches its peak, there is a shift, a sudden calm in the air. The winds die down, the rain slows to a gentle drizzle, and the clouds part. The tribe stands in silence, exhausted, but alive. They've weathered the worst, but their victory feels bittersweet. The leader surveys the damage. The islands have survived, but the destruction is clear. Many of the homes are damaged, and the tribe has lost valuable resources. The storm has passed, but the battle for survival is far from over. The tribe must rebuild, and this time they know the true cost of their existence on these fragile floating islands. They will need to be stronger, smarter, and more united than ever before. As they gather around the fire once more, there is no joy, only resolve. They have endured, but they know that their survival is not guaranteed. The next challenge may be waiting just beyond the horizon. The sun rises again, casting a golden hue over the still swollen river. The storm has passed, but the tribe's respite is brief. Though they've survived the fierce battle with nature, another threat looms on the horizon. Across the river in the dense, untamed forests, a rival tribe has been watching. The floating islands, with their abundance of food and shelter, have become a target. The leader, his face now hardened by the weight of their survival, gathers his warriors around a fire. He speaks not with words but with gestures, a raised arm to the riverbank, a clenched fist to the sky. They are not just protecting their homes anymore, they are protecting their way of life. The rival tribe, armed with sharpened spears and a hunger for conquest, is ready to strike. In the distance, smoke rises, signaling the movement of the enemy. The tribe must prepare. The women and children are hidden in the center, while the warriors take their positions along the perimeter of the floating islands. The sound of reeds rustling is drowned by the drumming of hearts, each member knowing what is at stake. The rival tribe approaches swiftly, their boats cutting through the water. They are skilled in water navigation, but they have not faced the strength of a tribe united by the river's current. The tension builds each second, stretching longer than the last. The tribe readies their spears, crafted from the sharpest stones, and stands at the ready. The battle is brutal, swift, and decisive. The tribes clash, their warriors moving like shadows across the water. But the floating islands, with their nimbleness and strength, give the defending tribe an advantage. With each calculated move, they push back the invaders, driving them into the open waters, where their boats are less stable. In the final moments, the leader of the invading tribe falls a spear, lodged deep in his chest. The remaining enemies retreat, leaving the floating islands behind. The tribe stands victorious, but they know this is not the end. There will always be another challenge. The survival of the floating islands is fragile, and it is up to them to ensure its place in the future. As the sun sets once again, the tribe gathers in unity. There is no laughter, no celebration, only the quiet acknowledgement that their bond is their greatest weapon. Tomorrow, they will rebuild. Tomorrow, they will survive together.